Deathstroke coming back into Justice League? The Joker? The Riddler, perhaps? Is Zack Snyder rebooting his own DCEU? We're going to talk about that and more here right now. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Matt Jarbo here with $3 Theater, and this is a video that I'm kind of like still processing everything that's going on, but I wanted to talk about it. So here's what we know right now, as of today, according to Collider. An exclusive source told them that Joe Manganiello, I can't even pronounce his name, Manganiello, I don't know, the guy who played Deathstroke in Justice League's cameo, the one that we knew was going to be playing Deathstroke, he is reportedly coming in to play Deathstroke once again as a cameo or some kind of situation in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is now apparently the full title of the 4-hour miniseries that we're going to get, right? But this source from Collider, we don't know who they are. So it's a source take. Again, all sources, grain of salt. It doesn't matter where you get it. But what they used as proof was Joe was Twitch streaming the other night, and he had bleached hair in a cut that looked very similar to Deathstroke, very similar to Slade Wilson. So it's one of those things where a lot of people are kind of going like, okay, maybe this is something. Maybe this is what we're going to get. Maybe this is what we're going to see. Cool, because it goes on top of the news breaking the other day that Jared Leto's Joker from David Ayer's Suicide Squad is going to also be having a cameo appearance in this movie as well. And it's going to be tied to the death of Robin, which is what we saw a little bit alluded to in Batman v Superman, where Bruce Wayne was looking at the Robin suit and it said, ha ha ha, the joke's on you. And I'm looking forward to that because I think it's going to give us a glimpse into how bad things got for Bruce Wayne mentally. And part of the arc that Zack has set up with Ben and Batman and everything else going into Justice League, coming off of BVS, as well as the rumor coming out from the Cultured Nerd that Ben has signed on for multiple appearances in films as well as an HBO Max series, which other people like Grace Randolph have kind of come out and been like, man, we're gonna have to wait and see on this one. But again, when it comes to the scoop game, everything is, I guess, on the table. Everything is off the table. It is what it is. But the reason why I bring it up, the reason why I'm talking about it now, has everything to do with an interview that came out the other day where they were talking about Justice League and what they wanted, or no, I think it was Batman v Superman and what they wanted to put into Batman v Superman in regards to other rogues gallery of villains for Batman, and the subject of the Riddler and Joker came up in talks with Chris Terrio while they were developing the script, but ultimately they chose to not include these characters because they didn't want to take away from it being Batman and Superman's story, which to me makes a lot of sense. It's like, if you're going to sit there and have a story about two iconic heroes battling it out, you don't want to overload it, right? You don't want to overload it, but still, BVS in its Ultimate Edition form is 3 hours long, and there were still compromises in regards to that cut. So where is the Ultimate Edition of BVS? I'd like to know, and also push a hashtag for if possible, because I think that would be quite a bit of fun to see exactly how that whole thing would play out in regards to what Snyder had originally shot that we didn't get to see in the Ultimate Edition of BVS. But it is, when I'm talking about the idea here of Snyder rebooting his own DCEU, everything that's going on right now looks like it's all kind of narrowly making its way back to the Snyderverse. Everything is going that route. Now, obviously, Warner Media and Warner Brothers and HBO Max and Warner Max and all those companies, they're going to want to push their own things. And a lot of the success, or I should say a lot of the future that's going to come to the DCEU is going to come based on the success of the Snyder Cut next year. How many subscriptions is it going to bring in to HBO Max? How streamed is it going to be? How talked about is it going to be? How pirated is it going to be? And that is an honest to God question as well. All right, because piracy numbers in regards to television shows are actually used as a net positive. I'm not making that up. The series finale of Game of Thrones had 19.5 million people watching it on HBO. 19 million people pirated it. Okay. Now, that is a far cry from the first season where they would have 4 million people watching it and 4 million people pirating it. It increased over time, which means that the popularity of the show increased over time, which led to more profitability, because piracy often does lead to profitability, maybe not theatrically, but definitely on home video and in other merchandise media, things like that. We've seen this case pop up multiple times, which is one of the reasons why we've seen a lot of people back off of the anti-piracy talks, because they understand that there is an underlying market there that does yield a fair amount of cash based upon the attention. Now, that being said, you should still, for this particular project, get an HBO Max subscription. Hopefully by then it will be on Roku and Amazon TV and all that stuff, because right now that is still absolutely inexcusable that it's been 6 months and there's been no movement on that front. I just, as a side note, before everyone says go get a Chromecast, I forgot that I bought one on Black Friday in 2017 and it had sat unopened for 3 years. So I just hooked it up yesterday and I was watching HBO Max in my 4K. So, hey, it's all good. But going back into the Snyder verse, right? The DCEU. If they're bringing in Deathstroke and they're bringing in the Joker and they are expanding upon the mythology of these characters, the history of these characters, the arcs of these characters, what does that tell you? That they are building towards something in the future. And we all, I think, can see this coming. We can all see how this whole thing's going to go down. We can all see what exactly Warner Brothers is trying to do, especially when it came to that Multiverse 101 panel back during DC Fandome. Now, I'm still very much apprehensive against the multiverse in regards to how they want to do it, where it's like, oh, the CW side of things and the Doom Patrol side of things and this and that and this, and it becomes too confusing. But if they focus it around the Snyderverse, that at least allows it to act as a lightning rod for what's going to be coming. That allows it to act as a central point for what's going to be coming in the future. And I think that would ultimately be the right thing. But we're hearing now, like, that they want that the Ayer cut. David Ayer has been pushing that heavily, rewatching it, seeing how much he loves it, how much he wants other people to see it, and how that might be on the horizon as well, expanding that side of the DCEU as well. Wonder Woman 84 is still part of the DCEU. Shazam still part of the DCEU. Aquaman, Birds of Prey, all part of the DCEU. The Batman, on the other hand, that's going to be that outlier that is still, I think at this point, Warner's is trying to figure out how to tie that back in. I really do think that, or they're just going to allow it to be its own separate thing and go from there. But they want the multiverse, and this is something that came from before the AT&T acquisition. So this is something that they are now just having to deal with, although the Batman looks absolutely amazing based on that trailer, and I can't wait to see it. So as much as I want Snyder's verse being the key core universe going forward, you can burn the CW Arrowverse for all I care. You can just take it out back, nuke that entire universe with the fire of 1,000 angry gods. It's run its course. It's just low budget, overproduced, schlocky garbage at this point. And with the streaming wars heating up and taking over and more budgets going into these shows, people are going to want more cohesive, better filmmaking, better storytelling. And I think that is kind of what the Snyderverse is going to be leading up to. So I'm curious to see what they do with it, but I really do feel that Snyder himself is rebooting his own universe going forward. Now, this is just a theory based upon the information that we have out there. As always, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your feelings and your opinions on this. They might differ from mine, but it's going to be good to talk about nonetheless. So let me know down in the comments section. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you again for watching, and remember to peace the hell out.